still saying going live. Here we're in. Anyway, welcome to another Living in Spain daily vlog. And today we're talking about the Spanish language. We got 2 viewers already, which is good to see. So while people are coming in, I'll just give you a bit of gem for any newcomers checking out this vlog. So I'm living in the southeast of Spain, Costa Calida, the Murcia region. I'm just outside a town called Mazaron. That's why I'm called Expat Mazaron. I live on a big urbanisation called Campbell, and I'm coming up to nearly five. I've just seen the people's on it. Yeah, coming up to nearly 4 years now. I come over in Christmas 2015. Now, I don't know everything, and the things that I do say, I've written down some of the stuff. Now, I'm only telling you my experiences. Now, I don't know everything, obviously, but thankfully, people on there should be able to, if I'm saying something, they can add their comment as well. Because one of the things that I've noticed in Spain is each province, even right down to each town, handles things differently. Now, I'm talking about your NIE, your Padron, your driving license. All these things are done differently. Steve, Ola, so obviously everybody can hear me. John, nice to see you. So yeah, obviously there's a system, but they don't always go by the system that you probably see on the web. And this is probably why it gets a bit confusing when you look on the web, or you're asking on other main forums for information, because I look on some of these forums, and a simple question like how long can you live in Spain for before you need to be a resident, it just, the mind boggles. oh Alicante, it's Matt, isn't it? I forgot. So yeah. God, I've lost it now. Anyway, so that's what I'm getting on about, is sometimes the information that you do see on the net, and even the videos, can be a bit misleading. It's probably all true. Now, today we're talking about the Spanish language, and it's probably not the most exciting thing to talk about, but I'll be really honest, even this day and age, we all need to speak. If we're going to live here, folks, you've got to speak Spanish. And I'm just going to read off some of the gunk that I'm taking off the net, because like I said, we can always query it. There are many ways of learning Spanish. Check the web, do Spanish courses, and numerous things like that, which is true. And this isn't, that's it. One of the things I did read, which I thought was quite funny, where did I see it? I've written it down, now I can't find it now, but it was what it was saying, that the Spanish language is very easy to learn. John, I have to say, when I first come to Spain, because my folks have already seen, now Matt's already putting some good ideas up there as well. One of the things that I didn't think Spanish was that difficult. My folks moved to Spain back in the late 70s, and when they come out here in Spain, expats weren't really thought about then, really. You know, they moved to a town, and they were the only Brits there, and they virtually had to learn Spanish straight away. And they spent over a whole month really going every day. And I'll be honest, when I used to come and visit them, I mean, as far as I was concerned, they spoke fluent Spanish. So I just presumed that when I come here, they used to laugh at me sometimes. When I thought, when I come here, yeah, no problem. Now, I'm not the best of person to sit in a class and trying to soak things in. I have a problem called attention deficit, which means if I'm in a environment where there's lots of people and somebody walks in over that direction, I've lost it. And this is what happens sometimes when I'm reading the comments. I found, anyway, I went to a Spanish class. It was supposed to be like an intermediate class for beginners, and what the guy said, forget about kids' books, forget about videos or whatever, all the easy stuff that I would have thought would probably be the way of learning. And he said, it's all down to grammar. You've got to understand the grammar. Well, that flummoxed me straight away because I didn't even understand the English grammar. And I'm talking about nouns, verbs. That is right over my head. And after that, I just give up. And I'll be honest, yes, I'll be honest, I'm lazy. I'm a bit busy at the moment, but I still want to knuckle down on it. My wife's been going backwards and forwards every now and again. And I think one of the things that we have noticed that when we go out trying to pick up the languages, obviously, I mean, I've got some friends now, but even my friends, my Spanish friends, we have the same problem virtually, that they can't speak hardly any English. We can't speak any much Spanish really to communicate. So we usually end up using that famous app, Google Translate, which is an amazing app. You can actually speak into it now and it will speak out the language. Okay, so sometimes the language, it gets a bit mixed up, but it's a fantastic tool that's helped me out many a time. Now, when we first read, I'm going to put up a little sign here because while I'm chatting, I'm probably missing some of the information that's going on there. So if you have got a question, guys, just put it below the video. Don't put it on the comments there, especially if it's a question, because I'm probably going to miss it. Because like I've just said, if I look at that, I've lost it. So yeah, so if you've got a question, please do put all the hints and tips that you've learned picking up the language, because okay, where I live in Campersal, it's a huge community of Brits, and to be quite honest, this is where the laziness comes in. Don't really need to learn Spanish, but as soon as I go down the road to Maveron or any of the big places, they don't really understand it. And I think what it is, they do understand English, but they're just like us. They don't want to say it because they think they're pronouncing it wrong. And this is what when I've been chatting to the youngsters a bit, that they're worried that they feel embarrassed by not pronouncing the word, you know. And I say, well, it's the same as me. I don't know. I always get some of the words mixed up, especially with some of the towns. Yeah. Stuart, nice of you to pop in. I'm just having a quick nose here, just in case there's anything I'm missing. I mean, what I have found, which has amazed me, what we do sometimes on Netflix, we put up a Spanish film and we watch the subtitles, but also we listen to the radio. And what I have noticed is that when we are in conversation, I can understand more of what people are saying to me than me communicating back. Now, when we took our car for its first ITV, which is like an MOT for you guys back in the UK, it's a total different setup. As far as I'm concerned, it's better. You actually sit through it if you want. You can get your mate to take your car down for you, whatever. But you can actually sit with it, go through the system. But obviously, they're going to come over to you. Now, some of the newer places have just opened up recently. They do speak English, which is obviously helpful. But, you know, the guy that we had on the first time, he couldn't speak hardly any English. And he was telling me to put my foot on the accelerator to get a certain amount of revs. I just looked at him, what are you on about? You know, and he virtually said to me, if you live in here, you've got to learn Spanish. And he's correct. You've got to learn Spanish. Because when you go into the big shops, like I said, most of them won't speak English or they don't understand it. And what I found now is I'll take a photograph on my phone. I'll go up to one of the reps and we get past it that way. But when you're going down to the town hall, for instance, I mean, an ideal situation is obviously going to the hospital, because in the main hospitals, the doctors will not speak to you in English. Some of them will obviously compensate, but anything medical, they will speak to you in Spanish. And that's more to do with them clearing themselves if they see something wrong. So you go to take the translator. Now, there's another additional cost to your monthly spending. If you're a person that's got a, how can I say it? If you got some bad conditions and you're going to the hospital quite frequently and you can't speak Spanish, then you're going to have to take a translator. Now, those translators can cost from anything from 15 to 25. They may even cost more in some places, I don't know. But where we are, John's just popped in, another John. Same for Swedish, yes. It's the same for all of us, you know, German, French, whatever. We have to learn. We have to learn Spanish, and I find it, me personally, finding it really difficult. But I'm getting there. But unfortunately, I get a mind block. Like the other day, I'd gone down to one of the beaches that I was doing a video for. I got to the toll gate. I paid my money. I forgot to say gracias because I forgot what it was. I said, thank you, mate. He just looked at me because it just went completely blank. And that's a simple word as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. And I know Matt's put down some words as well. Corneo. I mean, yeah. Another thing, I have met some Spanish friends that I've made contact with, but I think we got to the stage where we just couldn't communicate at all, and we've sort of gone our own ways. But thankfully, I've got a few others that are sticking by me. But it'd be nice if I could go out with somebody that obviously could communicate with me a bit more and try and get me to pronounce some of these words and get it into my thick head to remember it. But let's have a quick look what I've written down. How can I learn Spanish by myself? Spend an hour a day. This is what they say, which is probably true. I think you've got to spend every day learning some Spanish. And I know Jackie, who hasn't come on tonight, on this afternoon, that's what she's been doing. She's only been there a year and she's done everything. She got her padron, she's got a residency, she's got her driving license. Now I've been there coming up to 3 years and I still was going through the process of getting those sort of things. But anyway, she's a good one, and she's learning her Spanish and she's using it. Now all I'm saying for her is she's younger than me. That's my excuse. So yeah, I think learning every day is probably a good way of learning Spanish. The other thing is obviously understanding the grammar. I think that understanding the grammar is always a big thing. Yeah, exercise from a textbook, read, underline things that you don't understand, look up new words and read again. Now, another thing that my wife does, she has a lot of cards, which is a good idea. It's like a memory thing. And she write down, say, one, and on the other side will be the Spanish word, uno. And then she mix them all up, and then she memorize those. I think that's a great way of learning as well. Watch movies, TV shows with subtitles, which I mentioned before. Listen to the radio. Now, we do that a lot. Now, what we have noticed when we listen to the radio, they seem to play a lot of Latin music, which I didn't really. I always thought that the South American Spanish is not the same. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm right in thinking Portuguese is not the same as Spanish. Anyway, but we find out on our local radio when they start. I mean, obviously they're having a chit chat, and then they stop and play some music. I don't know what Spanish music is really. I always thought Spanish music was sort of like flamenco and lots of shouting and screaming. Maybe I'm thinking about the old days. I don't know. Right, and it says here, is Spanish easy language to learn? Spanish is considered one of the easiest languages for the native English speaker to learn. Well, I beg to differ on that. Okay, now there are some good apps out there. Obviously, I'm talking about the free apps. I can't remember now. Got him Yeah, my wife just said it. Duolingo. fantastic thing. It's sort of like for the idiots, and then up to the really good learners. So you learn. So I think each day you progress. You don't get nothing out of it. You don't get no money or nothing. But yeah, I know my wife uses that a lot, and I'll be honest, I'm still lazy. And I mean, another major problem I have is trying to understand what people write. But yeah, I think because unfortunately, I've met people here who have quite bluntly said, I don't want to learn Spanish. Why do I? And I'll be honest, you probably could survive on campus, but once you go outside it, especially if you go in the hospital, because if you're really ill and you've got to stay in hospital for a couple of weeks, you're going to be really flummoxed there, because you're not going to get a translator sitting by your bed for the 24/7. So you've got to understand Spanish. End of the day. I'm just checking the time. It's all right. Sometimes the time goes so quick, I forget what time it is. So I'm just going to have a quick gen down the side here, just to see how things are going. I mean, another thing that made me laugh really is when we first arrived here, we obviously took out private health insurance, and we used a company, no doubt some of you probably heard of it, DKV. Now on there, they say that you've got like a 24/7 telephone call that you can make, and it's in English. You know what? We found that phone many times, and what used to happen, I think what it used to do is they put it through to India. So you get a guy from India who then will try and translate what you're on about, and then they'll either cut you off or you put you through to somebody else that speaks another language. But we were to get there eventually, but it was such a palaver, and even the receptionist, who, I mean, it's our fault for not learning Spanish, I do agree, but when you're paying a company who say they speak English when actually they don't really speak English, because we had a few times where we've made bookings and it wasn't booked. So we've had a couple of wasted trips going to different places around Murcia, where obviously the lady had probably misheard, or I don't know, I don't want to say anything else, but as far as we're concerned, we didn't get a very good service. Now the doctors could speak I wouldn't say good English, but they could speak English. But there are things now. Thankfully, the bank that we use, the guy that we use, he's called. It's not called Alex, is he? What's our bank guy called? No. Anyway, the guy there, he can speak 4 languages. It's amazing, because obviously we're on campus, so we it's not just English. We got French, Belgium, Germans, and this guy, he can spout them all off. And I'm really impressed on what he can learn. I just wish. I just thought that, because my dad was virtually the same as me. He came out of school with nothing really, but he managed to pick up the language as well. And used to go out with my dad. We would go down the street and we would bump into some of his old friends, and they were right old chit chat. I didn't know what they're on about, but obviously knew what my dad was on about. Because another thing here, I think, Paul, nice to see you. I think another thing I've noticed here is, even though you are learning Spanish, especially in this part of Spain, it's like a slang. They cut the words short, so they don't say the full sentence anyway. So if you go in there and say whatever in Spanish, they still look at you, what you on about. And I did find this, believe it or not, when I was in the forces, when we was going around the world in Germany, the same sort of thing. It's just like the UK, and you got your different accents. So you go in there trying to speak proper, and then think, what the hell are you on about? And another good one is when they do speak very good English and they're watching you struggling. Yeah, It's a hard one, and I thought it's important to put this across, and it'd be interesting to see what you guys use to learn your Spanish. Now, I know Matt put some up there that I missed. I think he put down a guy called Paul somebody. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll be honest. No, what am I being honest about? Oh, that's it. The tapes. Now, I know you can. Well, I don't know if you still do it now, because thinking about it, you put CDs in your car now. No doubt it'd be CDs, wouldn't it? But I can remember you could get a tape you put in, and the guy would go through a vocabulary of words, and then you would sort of learn them back. And that was probably a good way of learning. But to me, I'll be honest. Kurt, it's waste time talking to me like that. I'll be honest, it was sending me to sleep, and just as much as I thought another easy way we would be doing it was watching the kiddies programs in Spanish. No, because they just go off on one. You know, it's like they've been showing nothing that's could be helpful to me, really. You know, like showing you flowers or maybe jumping sheep or something like that. So yeah, so I'll be honest and stick my hand up. I've got to knuckle down and persevere every day with learning Spanish. But I just want to put it across to you guys that if you're thinking about coming to Spain and got no interest in learning, then you ain't going to get nowhere here in Spain, unfortunately. Because even this day and age, a lot of the Spanish, and I'm talking about the youngsters, don't really speak much English. So don't think that you've got to go in the supermarket and they've shortchanged you or whatever, or you want to find a certain product. You ain't going to get much help, not unless you got something written down in Spanish. Now, this is another thing my wife does. When we was first here, we had to go to A&E because obviously something happened. My wife wrote down everything, like all her conditions, what she was allergic to and things like that. So when we arrived at the hospital, we just give them the form, and it was grateful. And that's another thing, because you're showing willing. So yeah, get the textbooks out. I mean, I don't know what best textbooks you are. I mean, this is the thing. You go on the web, and there's frigging loads of them, isn't there? And it's just as much as obviously a major channel is the channel that we're on YouTube, and I've gone through YouTube. They spend the first 10 minutes babbling on about whereabouts you are, not getting down to the nitty gritties, you know, like uno, dos. You want to learn, this is what YouTube's about. You want to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, blah. Most of those channels don't do that straight away. They're either trying to flog themselves, or they're trying to get you in to subscribe to their channel, where the nitty gritty bit's actually in the middle somewhere. And I know that some of the textbooks are like that as well. I know when my wife went to one of the well, not one, but when she went to the Spanish lessons, there was a proper textbook that was obviously to do with the Spanish certified language thing. Is, you know, it's like a proper textbook that you have to write in each day, and then you take it to the teacher the next day. God, you know, like some of you have already said, going back to school, because that's what it is, isn't it? It's going back to school, learning the basics. Now, like I said, I didn't even understand some of the English stuff, and I still have major problems pronouncing some English words. And listening to some of the guys down at the markets, because they got that sort of what I call Moroccan, where they're sort of at the back. And John will know when I try to say where he comes from, it's just nightmare. And I can't even pronounce some of the places in the UK. So yeah, but I suppose what it is, it's maybe like any language, you bluff it a bit. You get to a difficult word and you just sort of mumble it, and then you stumble on to the next one. I don't know. But yeah, to say I think Spanish is easier, I don't think so myself personally. And John's just said it straight away there. I'll give it a go, John. Phil Venturi. How's that? Anyway, a quick one, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about the healthcare. I know. I'll give it a go, and I. So tomorrow we'll be talking about the healthcare, and I'm not just talking about the Spanish healthcare. I'm talking about private healthcare, and it'd be interesting to know what health, if any of you guys have got private health insurance. Now, most obviously have got private health insurance. Now, where we are, I think it all depends on where the nearest branch is. Like we only had 2 places here in this part of Spain. That was DKV, and I think the other one was ASA. But I wasn't really sure where ASA was, because obviously, thankfully for us, down in Mavron itself, we had a DKV medical centre. And not anything else, you'd be sent to another private wing. A lot of the places, other than that, for your eyes and parts of your body, would be in Cartagena. But I would imagine around Spain, there's probably different healthcare places. John, thanks for popping in. I will learn where you come from one day. You will have a heart attack. Anyway, have a quick one, guys. Whereabouts we're all from. Obviously, I know John's from that place, that island. And I know we had somebody, Kurt. I think it was Kurt, was it? Maybe one. That's it. Steve's got it all straight away. Just give me an idea whereabouts you guys are coming from, because we had a huge amount from obviously the middle UK, Ireland, America, Biggin, Top Man, Austria. Well, that Claudio, thank you. Perth, see, Australia. Now I'm right in thinking Australia must be middle of the night, isn't it? Late, must be late at night. Tennessee, so good. That's it, Kurt. I knew you was from somewhere out that way. Gosport. Okay, so we have got a huge mixture of people then, really, haven't we, from different parts of the world, which is interesting. Fortuna, top person. I must go to Fortuna town itself. I haven't really explored that part yet. I've explored outside it, but not actually in Fortuna yet. James is in Spain, top man. Anyway, hope you're enjoying this, guys. I thought it'd be a lot easier. I am finding it a little bit difficult. I don't know why. I'm just chatting for half an hour. But as from Sunday, I'll be doing Q&A for a week. So if you've got questions, then I know some. I think I saw some questions down. I'm not really sure. I'll have to flick through it. But like I said, if you did have a question, put it down below in the comments on the video. I'll write it down, and then we'll mention those next week, or just wait until next week, and then we'll have a blab on that then. And it's nice to see we've got a load of people there. We've got 18 at the moment hanging on. God, you top people, you know, putting up with all this gibble gabble. And Steve thinks yeah, we'll still be here, Steve, in Camp Russell. It ain't moving. It's been another hottie today. I think it's what I've noticed, the temperature is just starting to drop now. We're sort of in the mid 25s now, but it's been really humid because we've had a lot of cloud, just to put it off a bit. But yeah, so like I said, hope to see you tomorrow. I've got a couple of minutes left. I've got 16 now. Oh, we're all dwindling now. But yeah, I hope you find it useful. I mean, another thing is, well, on the third week, I have got some more stuff to chat about, topics. But if you got anything that you think might be important to talk about, then please put that below the video as well. I'll make note of that, and we'll have a chat about that on the third week. I think I've got things like the Spanish driving license, about what do you need to get a left-hand card to drive here in Spain, those sort of topics as well. So all things to do with either you're thinking about moving to Spain, or you're actually in Spain, you're still quite new. I wish I could say I was still quite new. Yeah, I think another thing is, I mean, I'm getting a lot of people coming over looking for jobs and that. What I mean, there's not many jobs around here, I'll be honest, but what people are here, a lot of them are doing internet work, doing online work, or they're flying back to the UK, doing a couple of days and then coming back out here again. But it's that time again, and this is about the only thing I'm going to say in Spanish, which is adios amigos. And Paul, can you add that in the comments below, mate? And I'll make a note of that, because I'm not going to remember that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. This is what it's all about. It's about having a chit chat and exchanging views on topics that I'm chatting about. And adios, keep safe, learn the Spanish, and I'll catch you tomorrow. And we'll be talking about the healthcare. That's it.